5 years after IIM Ahmedabad, is it matching the expectation you had when you were there at IIM Ahmedabad?
Rat race is so
Entrenched.
ingrained in that environment that it takes unlearning to do. I'm still in that process. So you do feel that, hey, XYZ person is doing better than me.
Yeah.
But net, very happy.
Would you again do an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad if given a chance? If you have to take the entire decision again?
First year is grueling, like it's really tough. They say that it's to prepare you for the work life, but I have not had a single work day as tough as a single IIMA day.
It just teaches
part
you,
of-
prepares you for the worst.
I was not very enthused to do an MBA, but for me it was, I wanted to do marketing and marketing requires MBA, so chalo, I'll do it.
क्या सिखाते हैं MBA में? And I can't really pinpoint it to any one particular course that this course taught me and this is something that I'm using every day.
Our careers in marketing are very different from a consulting and IB, right? A traditional career in marketing gives you rewards late, and hence there is no incentive for me to switch until at least 5 to 7 years are spent in the company.
As for how AI would change sales and marketing roles, I think
Thank you, Vamika. Thank you, Utkarsh, for coming in. And for the audience, I think they are my batchmates, so I'll just introduce them rather than asking them because I know everything about them as well. Vamika, she's a brand manager currently at HUL. And I think she has given just one interview during her IIM days, internship interview for HUL. She got a PPO, she went to HUL and never looked back from it. And I think she had a lot of offers from different firms, but marketing was her target and she achieved it as well. So we'll talk a lot about marketing in the later half of the podcast, and we have Utkarsh as well. So Utkarsh worked in another sought after FMCG firm in the IIM Ahmedabad campus, Mondelez, and he was working there for a couple of years. Recently has shifted to SuperYou, and we'll talk a lot about our IIMA days, what happened and everything. Just a casual conversation so that people know how life looks like 5 years after IIM Ahmedabad. And also, the second part of this podcast will be specifically for those enthusiasts, marketing enthusiasts who want to make a career in marketing, because these are kind of the sort of the best people you can hear about marketing. She's at HUL, he was at Mondelez, now at SuperYou in sales and marketing roles from since the last 5 years. So you will get to learn a lot about marketing in the second half of the podcast. And the first half is for any MBA aspirant who is aspiring for a top B school like IIM Ahmedabad. So let's start this. And how's life been to start with? Vamika, Utkarsh, anyone who's going to take this?
Life's been good, yeah. It's been
5
quite
years
good.
expectation versus reality. Like, is 5 years after IIM Ahmedabad, is it matching the expectation you had when you were there at IIM Ahmedabad?
I think on most days, yes, because the one sentiment we had at IIMA was that एक बार B school हो जाएगा, life set है, and you don't need to worry. I think some days I do feel like that because I'm enjoying my work. I have enough work-life balance to pursue hobbies. So I feel like हाँ, life set है. There's no uncertainty. There's no exam. There's nothing else. On other days, I do realize that it's still a hustle out there. There are, of course, there is still people who are doing better than you. There are days when you're like, is this the right place for me? Should I make a switch? Should I do something else? So sometimes you do still feel like you need to hustle. So I think it's a bit of both, but overall it's been fun only.
But comparison benchmarks भी change हो जाते हैं, I guess.
Yeah.
After IIM Ahmedabad, comparison benchmarks जिसको रखते हो and everything. And Utkarsh,
Yeah.
are you happy with life?
yeah, I mean, I don't think I can complain. I hadn't really thought of a 5-year horizon at MBA, ki life will be like this, but I really enjoy the fact that I can be independent. Just 2-3 goals that I had as a child was that, buying whatever I want without seeing the price tag, and ordering whatever I want from the menu without again seeing the price tag. And I think I've reached that stage. So yes, from that point of view, I can't complain. But the what Vamika also touched upon, you feel competitive. I think that rat race is so
Ingrained.
ingrained in that environment that it takes unlearning to do. I'm still in that process. So you do feel that, hey, XYZ person is doing better than me.
Yeah.
But net, very happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially in the campus as well. There's so
Yeah.
much of competitive thing, everything, and it's so
Yes.
competitive. So
Yes.
we'll start with that only actually. Experience at IIM Ahmedabad, your IIM Ahmedabad days. Just tell about that. How was your experience?
Honestly, I feel tough. And I've said this before also. I was not very enthused to do an MBA, but for me it was I wanted to do marketing, and marketing requires MBA, so chalo, I'll do it. But the 2 years were much tougher than I thought. I think especially because I was a fresher. So when you're in undergrad, life is awesome, right? You've just made friends, you've like figured out your personality, you can bunk classes, you can chill, everything is awesome and new. And then to jump from that friendly, amazing, liberal environment to a hyper competitive place like IIMA was a huge shift. And because I didn't have WorkX, it like took me by surprise. So for the 2 years that I was at IIMA, I was like, why is everything so competitive? Why aren't people chilling? Where are the parties? Like, what's happening? So I think that environment shift was a tough one. Of course, now I realize that most people who were there because they needed something specific out of the MBA, which was to get a job in XYZ place or to get a promotion, versus I had come with this very naive mindset that, hey, we'll all be friends and we're just going to be friends for life, which wasn't the truth, right? So if I look back, I think if I had not had that expectation, I might have enjoyed more. First year was tough. I'm sure you've touched upon this in your previous podcast, but first year is grueling. Like, it's really tough. They say that it's to prepare you for the work life. I have not had a single
Day like
I don't
that.
know if it's like my good luck, but I have not had a single work day as tough as a single IIMA day. I like do not relate. Like, I don't know what they were preparing me for, but I've not had that kind of
But
experience.
like before you went into IIMA, I think you were very sure that you want to get into
Yeah,
marketing, and
yeah.
marketing as well. I think you were very sure HUL
HUL,
ही
yeah,
जाना है मुझे,
yeah.
because I remember I think everyone in the batch knows
My God.
कि placement season चल रहा है, and day
Yeah.
one we have for the audience, day one we have consulting firms coming in, not the marketing ones. And there's Vamika who's got shortlist from all the firms, and there is another top consulting firm, one of the top 3, calling her Vamika, and then Vamika is there in her flip-flops and everything, not ready for the job, because she is very sure that she will sit for HUL on day 2. So
Yeah.
that confident she was, and that desperate she was for HUL, that it's going to
Really
be HUL.
desperate, actually.
Flex.
But yeah. No, it was a bit stressful though on that day because people kept calling me and they were like, dude, they're calling your name, where are you? And I literally had just gotten up from sleep. And then when
Yeah.
half the batch got placed on day 1, that's when I was like, shit, did I mess up? Because I could have been placed by now. But then I had to just like focus, no, why are you here? Just wait for day 2.
Great, but that's good enough, like, because just one interview, and then it was the only interview that you gave after IIM Ahmedabad.
That's true.
And
actually.
Utkarsh, same thoughts about your experience?
Yeah, it was. I think it's very well summarized in the phrase that the days are long, but the years are short. And especially the term 1 at IIMA is just, it's like a pressure cooker. And I didn't know what hit me. I had dark circles. I was losing hair, and कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था क्या हो रहा था. And it was also made difficult because we were a COVID batch. So first year we were in college, second year we were initially in our homes doing online, and we came to campus. So that also was a very tumultuous period in general, which is very unique to our batch.
And we didn't have an exchange as well. So.
That
Worst
is,
part,
you had to say
yeah.
it. So yeah, we didn't have exchange, and we are after graduation trips and all were also
Yeah.
cancelled.
messed up.
And if you remember, COVID exactly peaked during those moments.
Yeah, the time when we were supposed to chill, COVID came. Yeah,
exactly. It peaked during an exchange.
Yeah.
And after that, it
Then when
got
things
little
started
chill.
getting better,
Yeah.
people started planning their trips, and then
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
wave
And it
2.
get-
And during the exams and placements, suddenly it got much better.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
when we were planning that
Yeah.
placements are over, we will plan
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
trips. After March, again
Yeah.
it started peaking, and everyone is
Yeah.
back now. Go back home.
Yeah.
Crazy, yaar.
But it was fun, yeah. It was fun, like the college traditions that were there, that intersection competition or inter IIM competition, etc. Those were a lot of fun, honestly.
Right.
And yeah, it's pretty competitive, but I think it just teaches you,
part of life in this.
prepares you for the worst, so to say.
Would you again do an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad if given a chance? If you have to take the entire decision again, would you do that?
Yeah, Yeah, I would. I was optimized. So like Vamika, she was optimizing for marketing. She was very clear that this is marketing and this is the shortest way to reach there. I had a very different approach towards doing an MBA. I was just looking at post graduation. What is the best set of options available to me? Okay, MBA is the best option. Within MBA, what is the best option available to me? IIM Ahmedabad. So I was playing it by the year. Went to IIM Ahmedabad and then sort of made my mind up on what I wanted to do and took a call of consulting, finance, marketing. So yes, I would do the whole thing over again.
Okay, so if I were to ask, like, suppose if you can change something at IIM Ahmedabad.
I was just gonna say that I feel like while what Utkarsh was saying, that it prepares you for the worst, that's true. But I feel like it can equip you better to deal with the worst. Like what it does is like now you figure it out. This is one exam after the other, one grade after the other, whatever. I feel like in that race you kind of forget the larger picture. For example, I do think that I couldn't maintain friendships that I had pre-MBA. I could, like, my health was not the best. So how do you holistically, because that's not how life works, right? Like life can't be every week a pop quiz. And so once you're out of MBA, you need to be able to make a life where you have a bit of everything and your health is not getting ruined, your relationships are fine. So I feel like maybe they didn't equip you to be a holistic, functioning human being. Which maybe I would want to change.
Okay. If you talk about specific things, Utkarsh, do you have anything to add, or?
Yeah, just that being a fresher, things were very life or death for me. Whereas I felt that people who had work ex were a bit more relaxed because they.
I don't think so. They were, but.
I just felt that they had a broader perspective on, okay, this is just a phase in life and this is, a means to an end. Whereas for me, this was end all. If I messed up in a quiz, then I got really stressed about it.
I think this is also something I tell in a lot of my videos, especially for CAT aspirants who think that, who go with the belief that IIM Ahmedabad or any of the top IIMs would be the destination. It's ultimately not the destination.
Not at all.
Obviously, a great way to achieve what you want later in life, but it's definitely just one part of life.
Sure.
Certainly not your destination.
No, not at all.
And I really want to talk about when I said what will you change about things, and I really want to highlight certain aspects of IIM Ahmedabad, which I want to ask whether you liked it, not liked it, whether you want to change it.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, rapid fire. You can give a good explanation as well if you want.
Okay.
But starting with the quiz, the surprise quizzes especially for the audience, we used to have a surprise quiz notification at 1:45.
1:45
Yeah,
PM.
1:45. We used to have a surprise quiz notification that your exam starts at 2:30, and every day during lunch you have to anticipate whether it's which subject it is going to be. Is it going to happen or not? So this is kind of a surprise quiz model that we have in first year at IIM Ahmedabad. It's very hectic. You have to prepare for every subject every day. So that is what doubles the kind of work that you have to do every day. So what do you think about that
Hate
quiz?
it. Trauma. Hate it.
We'll change it. No more.
I wouldn't do it.
Do you think
I
it
don't
helps?
think it's required.
Not required. It's extra, not
It took-
matlab,
Yeah,
zyada
I mean, if it was
preparation.
trying to make you less anxious, I don't think it worked. And it just made you skip lunch and have health issues. So no, I wouldn't.
Exactly. Every
Nobody
lunch
was
like,
eating lunch, right?
Yeah.
Everyone was just waiting, and we had all these, like, people used to follow the uncle who had the paper in his hand that would say whether there's a quiz or no, and people are like following him. This is all crazy
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah,
and
this is
like
not-
as soon as notification comes, everyone is running
Running,
back.
yeah.
Ki
And
last kitna
Just
pad lo.
imagine, it's so cringe to think of it now. Imagine adults are just running because the quiz has been announced.
And I don't know, like it was probably said that it is preparing you so that you're preparing every day for every subject. Example, engineers specifically, what they do is they are used to preparing everything at the end on the last day. But somehow it was the given rationale that it makes you study all the subjects every day so that you are not studying at the end. But I don't know.
But everyone was studying in that
Exactly.
half an hour only before the quiz.
Not even like one day. They were studying
Literally, you were
for
studying half an
15
hour,
minutes.
yeah.
It was just tough for the sake of being tough, I feel.
Yeah.
And I think it took me 2-3 years to just be normal at 1:45 p.m. Because at 1:45 p.m. after
This
I've graduated, I'm
Pavlov's
like, something's happening. My heartbeat is increasing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
unnecessary.
And placement process, the obsession with placement process, what do you think? Can it be improved somehow? Can the processes or anything be made better?
I think the placement process is pretty good actually. Overall, right from the CV making, where you have mentorship from the placement cell, the CV proof bit is a bit of a pain in the ass. But CV making to the mock GDs, mock interviews, you have ample opportunities to do that, which really helped me personally. And just the number of companies coming, the weights structured, you can have a offer in hand and appear for a different company. So overall, I think it's a very,
Yeah. I
very
think,
well functioning system.
yeah, I think for IIM Ahmedabad, it's like one of the most structured placement processes
Yeah.
that we have. But yeah, there is still this hype around placement, right? During the
Yeah.
placement season, especially if you
Hmm.
see the people around,
Hmm.
I think at least during the campus placement, we are so obsessed on a particular company, on a particular role, and this, which probably after 5 years, do you think it makes all the sense, all the hype that we carried? Maybe for HUL, yes.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm a brand ambassador of the company. But no, I feel like at that level you've come there to get a job, so I understand the hype behind a company. And for many of us it's our first job, first role. So you feel like you're going to die in this company only. So you're making a life decision. I think the only thing I would change is delay the placement process a bit. I think October is far too early.
For
because,
internship, the
yeah,
summer internship
For
program.
summer internship, because for most of us, it's the final. Like, we do like hope to convert it into a PPO. So it's or at least from an industry POV, it's a final decision that we make. I think October is too early because, like you were saying,
True.
if you join in June or July, you start preparing your CV the minute you come in. How do you know what you want to do, right?
Right.
Like, you have no time to talk to seniors properly, to understand the industries, the companies. You are just in the rat race from day one, and then you blindly obviously go behind very tangible metrics, like very superficial metrics, like money, or what food did the company give during the PPT, like stuff like that, right? Which are not real.
Who was taking the PPT?
Yeah, was
how
it like
that?
yeah? How did they speak? Which are all so superficial. You give
Yeah.
people a little more time at least. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would have wanted to do it in maybe Feb.
Right, and especially
Yeah.
what Utkarsh was also saying, for a fresher especially,
Yeah.
just going in there and figuring out everything, that okay, I have to take this role or that role because everything is new. And if you come, for example, I went there with 10 months of experience,
Yeah.
so I was kind of sure that I like to work with data and stuff, so I would like to work in a consulting firm kind of an environment. But internship, I knew that I can try out a different thing as well. That's why I specifically chose general management, because I wanted to test it out. So it was kind of clear for me that I can try it out during the internship, and then probably in the final we'll see.
Sure.
But yeah,
But
for-
that's also really rare because you remember
Yeah.
the hype in IIMA was
Exactly.
like you need to get the internship and a PPO and go to, like, that's it, right? Like, you don't try something just for the internship.
And consulting as well, like there's a higher chance that you get a PPO in consulting.
Correct. And,
Yeah.
and it's fine also the way we behave because the human brain wants a shortcut. Now, if you
Yeah.
have 2 months to decide and make a CV, you will go by things like, okay, seniors are saying to kar lete hai,
Right.
right? Like, it's
Exactly.
okay that we did it the way we did.
And if you see a lot of marketing folks, I believe, have stayed in the same company for a couple of years. You are still with HUL.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
stayed for a very long time, 5
Yeah.
years with
Yeah.
Mondelez, and now just you have switched. If you see the pattern with probably IB or consulting folks, especially, they have switched very early. In 2-3 years, I think most of our batchmates have switched to a different company, either to a completely different role or certainly to a different consulting firm.
Sure.
Do you think there's a pattern, or if given a chance, would you again choose marketing only?
Yeah, I would.
You would.
Yeah, for sure.
You're loving the job and everything, the
I
culture.
mean, out of all the options available, I think this is the
Okay.
best one for me. So I would definitely choose marketing.
Like I said, I wasn't married to any one industry when I got into IIM. So having gone the sales and marketing route, I would probably, I would be curious to try maybe consulting or product management, etc. Yeah, why not? And I think, there is that gap that Vamika mentioned and we touched upon is there, where we don't have enough resources or processes in place to help people take an informed decision. if you pose this same question of would you change industries to the same 420 people in our batch,
Yeah.
I think a significant chunk of them would be in that space where they wouldn't be 100% sure that they took the right decision. So
Right.
yeah.
Even for me, like I think when we were having this COVID period, we were at our home. I was thinking that let's go for a startup because I was more inclined towards a startup which can give me ESOPs and I can build long-term
Sure.
wealth and can build 0 to 1 somewhere.
Hmm.
But once I came to campus, it was more like day one, let's get a job, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then I switched to consulting. And once I got the offer, it was more like, now let's not dream it. It's enough done for the day.
Yep.
So it kind of, the campus does get into your head, I believe,
For
to an
sure,
extent.
Yeah.
A
What
lot of
other-
human psychology at play in all of these decisions.
Yeah.
No,
what
because consulting is very glorified, and then there is that bhed chal aspect as well.
Yeah.
So
And it comes on day one as well. So
Day one, higher chances of PPO, a lot
Yeah.
of things that make it a very lucrative option, I think, at that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
But on your point on people not switching from marketing, I think there are a couple of reasons. One could be like good culture, etc. But a large part is our careers in marketing are very different from a consulting and IB, right? A traditional career in marketing gives you rewards late.
Yeah.
And hence, there is no incentive for me to switch until at least 5 to 7 years are spent in the company from a monetary and roles and responsibility POV, which is not the case in consulting. In consulting, it's literally the opposite, where you get an accelerated beginning and then it plateaus.
Yeah.
Eventually, they say in the end, everyone kind of equalizes, but it's that, right? So in for a consultant, in 2-3 years, you have gained enough experience or enough money to then take a good hike and switch, etc. In marketing, that position you reach only after 4 to 5 years, and of course I'm speaking on behalf of most FMCG,
Yeah.
big FMCG companies. There could be exceptions.
Yeah.
I think that's one reason why people stay. The other could be genuinely loving the craft, because it is a exciting
Right.
like job prospect, and overall I think culture in marketing companies is quite
And
nice.
Like very, very important point, because a lot of people talk about work culture and everything, or work culture, work hours as well, and it's so interesting because whenever I've spoken to other batchmates as well of ours, they haven't really mentioned like 13-14 hours is the big issue or anything. It's more about the impact of the work that they are doing, and in consulting sometimes it's very difficult to anticipate, especially if you're not on the right project, if you cannot see things happening on the ground. For marketing, I believe you
Yeah.
know that, okay, I am a brand manager of this particular,
for sure.
and when consumers are picking that product from the store, it is so good to like
Yeah.
see
It's
that
delightful,
product.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're somebody who's motivated by tangible outcomes of what
Yeah.
you do, then marketing is a great place. Like marketing, sales, and marketing both, because you're really doing things that you can see, you know, an
and you can
impact
see things
of.
moving on the ground. You can
Yeah.
see people using your product. It's such a big push
Yeah.
for you. I think for
Yeah.
consulting, a lot of this due diligence process projects that people get stuck in, they feel like, okay, I'm doing something, maybe it's creating an impact, but I cannot see that.
Yeah.
So probably that is something, it might be a reason as well, the impact of work that you're doing.
Yeah, so ours is definitely one where working hours is generally much, way more in consulting than in marketing. That's definitely a factor. But I think what you said is very relevant, that people don't mind the hours more than the nature of the work. And I've had some close friends who were in consulting, and I don't mean to like disconsulting or be anti-consulting here, just quoting, is that I am really tired of making PPTs. Kitna PPT banau main, right? Whereas, so they lack that ownership or that sense of attachment to their work. So
Right, it's very project driven in consulting. Like there was one project I was working on, tourism, where I could really see how the guest experience will roll out. That was interesting. But on another project, I was just making strategy, 2030 vision strategy for an educational institution.
Sure.
And that is like far away in future. I can't do it. I'm just making a PPT as well, right? But when I can see the tangible impact of operations happening through my work, then probably that was exciting for me as well. And I think marketing, every day you get to see that.
Yeah, so the feedback loop in sales and marketing is much faster. In sales, it's just a one-day feedback loop where you did something and tomorrow the sales will show for it. And in marketing as well, if you're doing like a marketing campaign, maybe anywhere from 1 month to a year, you could have the feedback loop, and you can be very hands-on. So that high that you get from execution and operation is there.
Okay, so last thing about life at IIM Ahmedabad specifically, if given a chance to go back to do your MBA program again, would you do something differently? Because this is also very useful for any candidate who is aspiring for an IIM, is going to join IIM Ahmedabad or any of the MBA colleges this year, as to what they can do to make their career better and their life better as well in general. So anything you would have done differently if again you go to the MBA program?
I think couple of points. Number one is pay attention to your HR courses. I think now that I have work experience, I don't think I've applied any actual thing that I have studied. While they give foundation, you learn everything on the job, right? But the one thing I feel like I wish I had paid more attention to was the people management courses, because they are actually what we use right now, right? Everything in life now is just stakeholder management and leadership and people skills. So I wish I had paid more attention in those courses. And the second would just be to not take so much stress. I know it's easier said than done, but like Utkarsh was mentioning, as freshers you think it's the end of the world if you don't get this mark or that company, etc. It's not at all. Everything's changing. Whatever they tell you then will change in 2 months. Like, it really doesn't matter.
Okay, and you, Utkarsh?
Yeah. So I often get asked that what is the skills that you learned, क्या सिखाते हैं MBA में, and I can't really pinpoint it to any one particular course, that this course taught me and this is something that I'm using every day. I think one course, the Excel course, really was very useful for me. I was very bad at Excel and now I'm okay. But more than that, just working with your peers, you have a study group environment, which really kind of gives you a mock of what it would be like to work in corporate or any organization for that matter. So those interpersonal skills, negotiation skills, stakeholder management, and sort of structuring your thinking, I think those softer skills is what really gets carried over and you implement in your professional life, more than the technical learning from any particular course.
So true. And when you mentioned about the HR courses as well, I remember like my first HR paper when I was appearing for the exam. Like, literally I come from a very data background, okay, and I literally did calculations. I showed numbers on an HR paper, and the professor was like, Aditya Moses, I think he was there, and he was like, what is this? How did you get these numbers? How did you
come up with numbers?
I just guesstimate.
Oh my
I thought that this is the way to approach.
Oh God.
Because
so
I wanted to reach an objective answer, because in my mind it was like there should be an objective answer at the end of everything. There should be an objective answer, which is HR. Now if you see, it's very subjective. Everyone can have different answers as well, and that's what they
how to spot an engineer.
Really.
And I remember doing this, and still at that point I still had that feeling that अरे कुछ भी बता रहे हैं यार, कुछ भी लिख दिया है किसी ने.
Globe. Do you have a globe subject?
Exactly,
Yeah, we used to call it a globe subject.
Like, no, yeah, you have to reach an objective answer. So how do I reach an objective answer? See, and then I was arguing actually with the professor. So, but I have to reach an objective answer, and this is a great way of reaching it. That way I can write anything. And now that I see, probably even when I was working, and even now when I'm pursuing all of these things, I think delegation is such an important task, and it's so difficult that you have to learn it. I sometimes think that I can do it better than my peers or anyone. If I have to hand over the task, I can do it better. So let's do it.
Yeah.
But an entire process of delegation, making someone learn it so that the next time they can do it. It is so important. And
I think we need to get justice for HR and organizational behavior courses.
I'm behind this campaign.
They get no respect. They are just treated like they are lesser than your like economics, finance course, and
dude, justice for
they don't
HR.
get justice. I think we should start a motion.
I agree.
I think I'd done one course called SNS, Strategic Negotiation Skills. Okay, and there were 2 negotiation courses, and I think this Vamika only was really just shitting on the course or just making fun of the course. What is this course and why is there a course on negotiation? But hand to heart, that is the course that I use day to day. The 2-3 concepts that I learned, I still use it. So we need to give justice to these courses.
So enough of IIM Ahmedabad. I guess a lot of MBA aspirants would have taken a lot of insight. But now let's come specifically to marketing roles and your career in general, so that every aspirant who is maybe aspiring for marketing role or is confused whether what they should do after an MBA program, whether marketing is the right fit for them or not, they can make sense out of this. So starting with maybe Vamika, how has your journey been over the 5 years? So if you can just dissect year-wise, what has been your roles and responsibility at HUL?
Yeah, no, of course. At HUL, your first year is your management trainee program. It's called UFLP here at HUL. And so that's a 1 year training where you go from stint to stint and you learn a little bit about all the different things that you can do within sales and marketing in HUL. So it starts usually with a sales stint, which is a 4-month stint where you actually go on ground, learn sales. Usually you're sent to an area very far from your hometown. So I was in Tamil Nadu, which is a 4-month stint. So there you kind of understand right from the bottom, like what a salesman does, to then his supervisor, to the area sales manager, to the RM, etc. So you understand the whole chain, and you also get a project. So every stint there are 2 objectives. One is learning the ropes of that function, and also you get a project where you can individually contribute. So it started with the sales stint. Following that, there's a brand stint. So I did mine in the home care category, and that's usually like the marketing stint where you're given a project related to a particular brand. Then in HUL, there's, of course, I was COVID batch, so some of these stints didn't happen exactly, but I'll tell you the general format. You get a 1-month rural stint where you're sent to a village and you're given some sort of objective to, either teach in a school, take some social impact initiative, and you're sent to that village and you are supposed to live there for a month. We also have an international stint where you learn international markets mein kaise hota hai marketing. So you go to one of these locations for 2 months.
And this is the same for all the people joining in for the first year? It's all the same for
all the same, yeah. My batch, of course, was exception because we had COVID, but this is normally what would happen. Then there's a customer marketing stint. So customer marketing is basically a function between sales and marketing. They are the people who understand what's the brand's objective, what are their ambitions, and help to convert it into sales targets and channel targets, etc. So that's another very specific to FMCG, I think, role. So you have a stint with them. And after all of this, you get your first role. So the first year is purely training. Then you get your first role. My first role was as brand manager in Vim. So I was handling the liquids and innovations portfolio. So I did that for 2 years, following which I switched to the F&R category. So currently I'm brand manager for Taj Mahal and Lipton tea. So usually in HUL, every 2 to 3 years you switch roles. So this is my second role. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. So that's been the broad
got it.
journey.
And not everyone starts with the brand manager role, right?
No,
After
so conventionally you do area sales manager first, then you do customer marketing, then you kind of get into brand. That's, I would say, 90% of people do that trajectory. But because the opportunity presented itself and I had a good brand stint and again was very clear on wanting to do marketing, I started with a marketing journey. And so it is possible. There are juniors of mine who've done the same. But conventionally, you do sales first, then customer marketing, and then brand. And also, it makes sense because if you want a long-term business trajectory within HUL, it makes sense to understand sales because that's so important if you want to lead businesses like HUL.
Got it. And we'll come to the specifics as well, like what does an ESM do, what exactly you do as a brand manager. But first coming to Utkarsh and understanding his trajectory of 5 years.
Sure. So I, like Vamika, started as a management trainee, and this has a rural stint. So on my first day in training, I was behind a rural salesman on his bike, and we did 200 kilometers, so 100 kilometers one way and back, and I dozed off while sitting. That was my first day. So then you, all different levels of the sales ecosystem, you do a training and a shadow and you deliver. Then I started with my area sales manager stint. and there I was based out of Indore and managing sales for Madhya Pradesh, and that was a damn fun role, because you really get to understand how business is happening on the ground, and you also get to lead a team. So I had a team of 10 direct reportees and large team of 120 plus people, including all the field salesmen, etc. So did general trade for a couple of years. Then I moved into organized trade, where I was managing quick commerce, which is all the buzz right now. So managed some of the quick commerce accounts, end-to-end partnerships of Mondelez with quick commerce accounts, which was very fruitful, gave an understanding of emerging channels. So got a pretty comprehensive understanding of the retail environment, right from GT to more future first channels. Then very recently I have just moved into SuperYou, which is again very exciting. So it's still early days for now.
Okay, so when you say general trade and this organized trade, so it's more, where does it exactly fall? It's a more of a sales role or it's more of a marketing role?
So this is more of a sales role. Typically, how the structure of FMCG careers is that you join in sales, you do 1 or 2 stints in sales, be it ASM or key account manager, or something in customer marketing, etc. And then you make a segue into brand. So typically 4 years, 5 years down the line, you move into brand. However, there are some organizations which have a very separate marketing and sales track.
Yeah.
So initially you just join in marketing and you just build there. So there are 2-3 firms which have that track as well.
Okay, so if you have to talk specifically about the sales role, like you were saying, you basically lead teams on ground.
Yes.
Even the sales representatives and
Yes.
everyone is on ground, and maybe you talk to retailers and those
Yes.
general retail
Yes.
people as well.
Yes.
And what exactly, how does it span out? Like, what exactly the scope of your work in terms of, okay, what are you learning from there, from the people, obviously, who are there in the retail stores,
Sure.
from your distributors, wholesalers, and from the sales people as well?
Sure. So you have different entities. You have a retailer, which is your shopkeeper. You have your distributor. You have your sales executive. You have a field salesman who's actually going to the outlet and taking an order every day. So there are different stakeholders in this entire ecosystem. And I was particularly managing some 20 odd districts, spanning a significant population. And what do you learn? So I'll just give you some particular examples. If I have to grow any brand, say X in particular area, there are 2-3 key levers that can be done. I can reach more number of outlets. I can build depth in the existing set of outlets, or I can just have more offtake from the same set of outlets happening. So there are these 3-4 levers, and then you work backwards to that. So you have levers like finding new outlets. You have extraction related metrics, where can I get more out of the existing set of outlets. You get to work very closely with the retailer. So you understand what is the pain point of the retailer. You understand what are the realities on ground. So instead of just sitting in an office making some marketing plan, you really understand what are the challenges on ground, which makes your plan more comprehensive.
And we'll come to the integration of both sales and marketing, because I'll just go to Vamika to understand more about marketing from a brand manager role's perspective. ASM role, probably, I think Utkarsh explained it well, right? It would be kind of similar.
Same, exactly
the same.
Yeah.
So brand marketing stuff, what do you do?
So in HUL, at least, brand managers are of 2 types. One brand manager, what we call in HUL is brand development, is the person who takes long-term decisions on the brand. By long-term, so in HUL we have 6 Ps. So the long-term Ps are proposition, which is what your brand is going to stand for. Then there's packaging and product. So what exactly is the product? How will it look, etc. These are things that don't change within the year, right? Like when you make a product, it stays for a number of years, but you don't change packaging very frequently. And proposition, what the brand stands for, is a very permanent thing you work on. So the brand manager who does brand development looks at more strategic long-term decisions. So the horizon of their work and when it gets like implemented and impact, etc., is usually 2 to 4 years. That's the horizon in which she's thinking. And then you have a brand manager who does brand building, which is more short term. And so the brand manager who does brand building has in-year targets, which is deliver volume growth, deliver share gain, etc. Very, very tangible business metrics, which you have to deliver in year. And to make those objectives happen in year, you have 3 levers. You can look at price, you can look at place, which is basically where to play, what to play, like Utkarsh was saying, what discounts to give in which retail, in modern trade, GT, etc. So that's place. And promotion, which is a big lever for FMCG brands, which is marketing spends. Where do you want to spend? How much do you want to spend? What's going to give you return? So these are the 3 levers that a brand building brand manager works on. Okay. My first stint was the brand development, the longer term decision making on Vim Liquids. The one I'm doing now is more P&L management, which is in-year targets, etc. So I've done both sides of the marketing.
Okay, and if I have to integrate both, like sales and marketing now, so how do they communicate with each other, both sales and marketing, if you can speak? Because there's someone who is driving sales at the retail level as well, but marketing, your job is also kind of same, right? Your KPI ultimately is the same, that you have to sell more products. Sales as well, the KPI is the same, you have to sell more products. So now, how do they integrate, how do they communicate with each other?
Okay, so I'll explain it as simply as I can. But basically, when I work as a brand manager, I am responsible. Let's take Taj Mahal, for example, my current brand. I am responsible for certain business metrics for Taj Mahal. Now, I can come up with, okay, this is basis my inputs. I think this is the growth we are going to get in this year. Suppose I decide that that number is 100. That number is then fed into a central function, which is like, okay, Taj 100, maybe red label 200, all the brands, right? And now those numbers are de-averaged and given as targets to sales teams at an area level. So from a brand POV, it's then converted to an area, branch, region level, right? Okay. And now that salesman has to, and all of this number, and which is why I keep saying marketing is a lot about data and numbers. So we have a whole function that then converts our individual brand targets into the targets for a geography, into the target for an area, into the target for that one salesman who's going shop to shop to make to sell the products. And that's how the whole machinery functions. And once they achieve their target, and if it goes as per the assumption that I had laid, ki yes, Taj will do this much in Delhi, Taj will do this much in Tamil Nadu, then it will trickle back, like basically come back up, and I'll achieve my target. So that's how the two sides kind of function together. And we have very important support functions in between, which is like customer marketing. Like for us, we have COE, which is a center of excellence. These two functions kind of help make sure that there are no gaps in these two ends of the business.
Got it. And very, very interesting, because this is always a doubt that students have. Everyone has that, okay, sales is one, marketing is one, but at the end of the day, sales also has to achieve their target. Yeah. Marketing also has a target, but both of them have kind of overlapping regions as well, right? Yeah. So how do they communicate with each other? So it's
and you are in touch with the sales teams. Like for example, I am in touch with the branch teams to tell them these are my priorities, to even give them confidence that I am spending this much on advertising. So you place the product, offtakes will happen because I am generating consumer demand. So at the end of the day, it's all about consumer demand and pushing the product, right? So sales can push the product to the retailer, but I have to ensure my marketing mix is working to ensure that product gets bought by consumers. So it's a lot of confidence that brand and sales have in each other to achieve the objective.
Interesting. I think fairly people should be able to understand now what sales and marketing are, but now we'll deep dive into if they want to get into sales and marketing. So what are the kind of skills they will develop and stuff. And obviously making ads is, I believe, an important aspect of the entire things that you do, right? Yeah. So who does that in your team? Like you said, brand development, and there's another team.
So brand development would make the ads, but just one misnomer or myth that people have, we don't make the ad.
Yeah.
There's an agency.
Right.
So your job is to understand the consumer and write the brief,
Right.
a single-minded brief to the agency. But it's the agency that's actually the creative one that makes the ads that you see
Who
on
decides
TV.
the positioning? It's
Yeah,
you.
correct.
You decide the positioning. You decide and
What
on the basis
benefit
of
you
that-
want to say, but
Okay.
the actual creative, the direction and all is done by an agency.
Okay, got it. But you give a brief, right,
Yeah.
to that agency that these are the things I need in an ad.
Yeah.
Can we just decode an ad, like a random ad that's there from a brand manager's perspective as well? Like when you are making any ad or like giving a brief to any agency, like how do we decode a particular ad? Like what kind of brief might have gone into making this kind of an ad? And what are maybe the functional benefits or the other propositions that I want to take out of this an ad? And any
Yeah.
ad that we can decode? Maybe
we can.
there's one ad. Maybe I will give you an ad.
Sure.
Okay. And you can just decode that ad in detail that, okay, what a brand manager would have thought about it. So let's talk about maybe this Bournvita ad was very viral. Tayari Jeet Ki.
Yeah.
So maybe we can decode that ad. If you see that entire ad, and if you want to just
Yeah,
watch
can
it
we
once
just
as
watch
well,
it once?
yeah. If you just want to watch it, Tayari Jeet Ki
Yeah.
ad, and we'll just decode that from a brand manager's perspective, what is the brief that would have gone?
So, like Bournvita historically had very scientific or functional claims that it has this vitamin, this etc. etc. So back then it had a very functional positioning, and then eventually this ad ka brief would have been ki how can we play in the emotional space. Feelings kaise,
There's this.
yeah. Oh, perfect.
This Utkarsh has ordered something, and we had to stop the podcast.
Sorry,
So-
sorry guys. I was just feeling really hungry in the middle of the podcast. I just wanted to have a
Product
quick
placement.
bite. Quick bite.
This is what you call marketing, right?
Guerrilla
This is
marketing.
product placement.
So good. You wanna try?
Vamika can say, नहीं इतना अच्छा नहीं है.
Yeah.
Vamika would be like, नहीं यार इतना अच्छा नहीं है.
You know, when I have these hectic days and shoots होते हैं और time नहीं मिलता है, so this really helps me, and it's so tasty and it has 10 gram protein.
Nah.
I love it.
I don't need to do this hard selling for Lipton green tea, which everyone knows. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
I should have charged commercials for this, but very clever product placement by Utkarsh. So this is, if you're in a sales and marketing role, you have this kind of creativity, you have this kind of a brain.
Just listen
So-
to this, guys.
Oh God.
ASMR.
I can edit this out, na? वैसे.
Yeah, you can.
I can definitely edit this out. Yeah, so we'll come back to the topic. Functional benefit, you said. Bournvita had focused on functional benefit, and now it focused on emotional aspect of it, and the brief and everything.
Yeah, so it tries to achieve that, and you're effectively selling to mothers here. You're not selling to the kid. So the insight that the brand manager would have probably had is that mothers are evaluated on how well they can mother their child. So this is appealing to that sentiment, that pressure that a mother would feel, that I need to raise my child right, I need to put good habits in her or him, and that's the insecurity that they are trying to tap into through this ad. Maybe Vamika can add.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fabulous ad. I really, really love it. I think what resonates is that there's a human truth, like Utkarsh said in the ad, which is that moms will go to any level to ensure the best of their kid, right? And the minute you say that, it rings true. Like, we can all think of our moms when we think of this insight. And I think that's the insight behind the ad. What they wanted to do was appeal to the TG, which is moms, and almost make it a thing that if this is you, if you are the kind of person who goes to any level to do the best for your kid, you must be buying Bournvita. And I think it's really, really smart marketing.
So obviously this ad would have been made by an agency, but when I'm sending out a brief,
Yeah.
what would I have written to that agency? That okay,
Yeah.
moms, maybe target audience moms.
Yeah.
And something around the ad as well, that this is how it should look like, or no, that's the job of the
No,
agency.
so that's I mean, it depends, and I can only speak from my experience. But usually, I would write a target audience. I would write the insight or the human truth, like Utkarsh said, which is, say, moms are evaluated basis how well their kids are groomed, or what I was saying, like moms will go to any level to ensure their child gets the best. And then I will add what my product's role in this is. So probably I would have written role of Bournvita, the best that your kid can get, or something like that. And that's the brief I would give to the agency. Then they come back with multiple routes and how, like, stories and compelling ideas on how they can communicate this brief. And then I kind of select a few, I test them with consumers. So everything has to be checked with consumers. You check with consumers what's working, what's not, and then you go ahead and shoot a particular script into an ad.
Okay, so this customer research as well, that happens
100%.
before
It
this.
happens even before the brief, right? Because I don't think Bournvita would have just suddenly been like, oh, we need to move to emotional advertising. They would have done a bunch of research to realize that our ads are not cutting through. We need an emotional insight. What is my TG's biggest pain point right now, or emotional trigger? They would have got this idea that, okay, moms ka ye behavior hota hai, and then made the brief.
And then probably the tagline "Tayari Jeet Ki," that would have been discussed with the agency.
Yeah. That's usually agency, yeah.
Okay. And after this, like, probably another ad, the Cred ad, especially if you want to talk about, because it definitely went viral. A lot of their ads went viral. But if I see the ad, I don't know if it's a good ad, it's a bad ad, what kind of brief would have gone for that ad, because I don't know what Cred does, but definitely the ad is there. So any thoughts on the Cred ads that come out?
So see, I feel the Cred ad is definitely noticeable. When I look at an ad, I will look at three things, right? One is it noticeable because there's no point otherwise? Is it well branded? Do you know which brand did it because you want to buy the product? And third is it persuasive in whatever thing it wants to do, right? Like, does it compel you to do something? I feel like on these metrics, Cred definitely was noticeable. So it had everyone talking about it. So you know how you say awareness of a brand or word of mouth? Wo tha. Like, everyone's like, oh, Cred. But for a product like Cred, I think what it needs more is persuasion, because I have no idea what this app is or what it does. So what if 100 people are saying Cred if they didn't understand the product and they weren't compelled to buy it? So I think it depends also on the category, which kind of thing you want to emphasize more on. So for me, the Cred ad is a great piece of art in terms of grabbing the consumer's attention, but for the job to be done for Cred specifically, I'm not so sure how it worked out, because I myself, a very affluent in this industry, educated person, could not for the life of me figure out what Cred does.
Okay. And Utkarsh, any other thought on this Cred ad?
Yeah, I think it started this trend of ads where everyone just wants to be clutter breaking and viral, right? And because our attention spans are so short now, so it does clutter breaking very well, and it grabs your eyeballs, but it's not consistent with what the brand stands for, or it doesn't communicate the brand's proposition very well. So if a random person was to be shown this ad, and one day later you ask them कि वो किस चीज़ का ad था, so they'll probably remember, oh, that Rahul Dravid ad was a lot of fun. They'll remember everything about the ad, but they'll probably not remember the brand. What was the brand name? So that is something that a brand manager has to balance between. That do I just want to grab eyeballs, or do I want to be super consistent with the kind of messaging I've been giving? And trying to achieve both and making a balance of that is a skill.
Do you think, like, maybe agency going above and beyond the brand manager might lead to this kind of an ad? Because if you hire a great agency who creates maybe viral ads and maybe overrides the brand manager in some aspects, this can happen, maybe?
Yes, systemically nahi ho sakta hai, because at the end of the day, the money comes from the brand. But it's very important to work in tandem with your agency, to almost work as one unit, so that they also understand the business objectives, and so they don't get too carried away. And
agency को specifically क्या brief मिला होगा, अगर if you can think about it
Cred, I
backward?
think it would have been, we are going to spend a bomb during IPL, so we need to make something that really breaks clutter, like Utkarsh said. That would have been the brief, that make a clutter breaking ad that makes get people talking ki what was this ad, what was Cred, so that that one asset, because usually startups spend only in these 2-3 months where बहुत eyeballs होते हैं, like World Cup, IPL, etc. That's usually the marketing they do. Unlike big FMCGs which spend every month on your satellite TV. So I think their brief would have been, I have 3 months to crack it and make everyone talk about me for the year to come. Can you make the most viral ad?
Okay, now let's decoding ads is one thing, and after this, what are those non-negotiable skills if someone wants to get into sales and marketing role? What are those non-negotiable skills one should have?
I think for sales, starting off, negotiation skills, interpersonal skills, stakeholder management. I think I touched upon this earlier. These are the most important. Marketing, while Vamika can talk about it better, but in my understanding, empathy and understanding the consumer through that empathy would be one of the core skills.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what he said. I think those are all the right kind of skill sets to have. You should also just be a curious person. But tangibly, if I have to
Yeah.
look at what people can do to build their CVs or prepare, I think have width and depth both. So if you have some hobbies, get into the why of things, because that just shows that you are curious and you would be able to empathize with other people. Do leadership positions if possible, because like he said, like it's really difficult leading a team, like as an ASM or even as a brand manager. Like a lot of stakeholder management is difficult. So to show that you can do that, definitely leadership positions kar lo. And just have some like bit of curiosity, reading, podcasts, movies, etc., to show that you can understand the world that's happening around you and use that to generate insights and create products. So try to balance your CV
And
that
so,
way.
so someone who wants to get into marketing role, like if you are evaluating someone's CV, it would be more in the lines of, okay, if they have some leadership skills, some
Yeah.
extracurriculars, have certain hobbies which they can deep dive into, and that curiosity and open mind
Yeah.
basically to deep dive into ads as well. And that creativity is also important, right?
It's okay, but it's not the most important, because like I try to emphasize, the agency does the creative part. You
Right.
actually need to be empathetic and analytical,
Okay.
because you need to be able to choose. Like a brand can say 10 different benefits. Can you understand ki kaun sa benefit is going to work with the consumer? That doesn't require creativity. It requires analytical skills, because you will create 10 concepts, test them with consumers, and very methodologically choose the right one. So I do want to emphasize that you don't need to be creative to be in this field. You need to be analytical.
Okay, and like if someone, because you said you pursued MBA to get into sales and marketing role, if someone wants to get into sales and marketing roles without an MBA degree, is that something you believe is possible, or no, MBA is the only way to get into?
I think it's definitely possible. I know that HUL at that time was not hiring before pre-MBA, but now they are. But many companies do hire pre-MBA. I think you can learn things on the job. I just think that at some point an MBA makes sense for the point Utkarsh made, which was the softer skills, leadership, managing pressure situations. At some point, to be a good leader and to grow a bit in the organization, it's good to have an MBA. But to start off with, you can definitely start without an MBA.
Got it.
Yeah, and I think I could do the same job that I'm doing or any of the roles that I've done in the past. Equally, not maybe equally, but I could have done a fair job at these jobs without an MBA degree as well. I think the benefit of MBA is, again, it gives you that catapult, it gives you that safety net, it just, puts a rocket on your career. So that benefit it gives, but it's not a mandatory
Got it.
qualification.
And there's a recent buzz about AI taking away jobs in
Yes.
a lot of sectors, especially consulting, tech jobs. They're definitely impacted. What's the impact of AI on your work? Like, how do you see, is it integrated? Do you use AI in your work? And do you believe that it is also a skill that people should start learning?
So, as for how AI would change sales and marketing roles, I think there is an iterative process. If I have to talk about, getting a new product in, there are various steps there which AI can really speed up. For example, we spoke of, the Bournvita ad, so to say. So the speed of trying out different concepts would be much faster now because of AI. And so you can make concepts faster, you can test out stuff faster. So there are multiple use cases of AI now in sales and marketing. However, I don't think it will ever be able to replace taste, judgment, understanding culture. So that judgment will always be required. It will it will change some aspects of the job.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I believe in sales and marketing role especially, there's a lot of human involvement, as you mentioned,
Exactly.
empathy. Because there's so much of human interface, it's difficult. Probably one of the last sectors that will be touched by AI, I believe.
I agree. Yeah, we're in the people business,
Yeah.
and we are.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what makes it a bit more future proof. But yeah, AI has definitely made our work easier. So like Utkarsh said that if you're not equipped with AI, you will fall behind. So you need to equip yourself, because now an average output anybody can do. So if you want to make a brilliant output, you should be using the tool in a smart way and then adding your intuition and judgment on top of it. That's what will set you apart, because now average output to everyone knows AI can give you.
That bridge has kind of got reduced, the differentiation
Yeah.
factor. Now you have to level up your work, and because also you can try and fail faster now.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so one final question on this. Like, suppose someone wants to join an MBA program and is aspiring for a sales and marketing role. Probably they don't have a lot of time. Okay, they have, say, 3 or 4 months. What can they do during this period so that they can put some points on their CV, or maybe some resources that will help them do better in their interviews or while getting shortlisted? So what they can do in the immediate period of those 3-4 months that they have before joining a B school?
I think if you are about to join an MBA program, I don't think you should do a lot of homework. Fine, you've got in, just chill, because once you get in, life is going to become very hectic. So just have a good time. Don't put unnecessary pressure. You've already got in. So एक बार effort मार लिया, आगे भी अभी बहुत सारा effort मारना है. Just relax, take a step, and just be clear on why you're doing it. That's it. But I wouldn't give a lot of homework pre-MBA.
And you,
Yeah,
Vamika?
I think I agree. Like, just chill and don't stress too much. Maybe take this time to introspect on 2 things. One is, what do you aim to achieve out of the MBA? Like he said, what are your principles? Because it's really easy to get swayed once you're in a almost like a big boss environment. And the second is, if you're super clear on marketing, I would say introspect on what are your skills, what is your leadership style, do you understand people, maybe read, watch movies, try to push yourself outside your comfort zone. So if you read a certain kind of books, or if you only watch certain kind of movies, try to do other things to see how do you evaluate different genres of content. So maybe push yourself here and there, but more than that, just chill out. Yeah.
Just one last thing on that is, right now we're seeing like almost a boom in consumerism in India. So there is a proliferation of brands. There is a lot happening in the consumers brand marketing space right now, now more than ever. So you can just read about it, figure out what are some of the brands that you like, why do you like them, what is it that they're doing good, bad, etc. Just try to develop a point of view on that. That will just help you get confidence in your decision to do marketing, and also eventually might end up helping you with your interviews as well.
Got it. So thank you so much, Vamika. Thank you, Utkarsh, for doing this. I believe the students would have got a lot of insight, like about MBA life, and specifically if someone is interested in marketing. I think 5 years into this role, they've got everything that they needed for a sales and marketing role. So thank you so much for doing this and taking out time for this.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having us.